going to cover a few items specifically around that investment in your intrusion panel. That in some cases, this keypad is going to trigger a reminder to you, right? It might already be hanging in some of your facilities. I bring it out here because it's really how I have for the last 25 years, regardless of where I walk into. When I look on the wall, this is like a signature, right? You know what's behind here if you're in the industry. This is the legacy device that's been sitting here. And I bring it up because I want you to know that in the background, behind this legacy keypad, we have, I think, deployed the technology and integrated that technology with a whole host of other sensors to show you what's possible. And what we'll do is, as I begin to tour through the Experience Center, and we'll go over to our mock-up for our pharmacy, and we'll take a look at a couple use cases that might be familiar to you. So when you think about your intrusion panel and how it's connected to different sensors, there's a whole host of fusion, data fusion of sensors taking place. And what's important when you think about that is the accuracy of that information is super important, especially if you want to leverage it to make your building, your facility, your operations smarter. And while I'll compare a couple or show you a couple of pretty straightforward examples that if you're in the security integrator space, or as I know many of you are, and you understand this product, you'll know that it's just some magic behind the scenes, right, that makes this take place. But I wanted to start off by just showing you something simple. And it starts off by, here we have a simple access control point that's tied to your intrusion panel. Say this is critical medicines. This is the example here, but imagine anything. And you might come in and get it, but the door might be left propped open. And when a door's left prop open, even in a disarmed state, that could pose a security risk, right? And what we are trying to show here is, while a typical attendant might leave the door open.
Warning, this door has been held open too long. Please close the door.
So that's a pretty simple example of how can we use a simple sensor with the Bosch intrusion panel that is monitoring a door, monitoring its status. So while a lot of folks might, it's not unusual to see an access control system that monitors door position, right? That's not unusual. But when you do it based off your intrusion panel, we're not talking about developing some enterprise access control system. It's coming right off a 9512 panel and just a matter of programming. The level of programming that's capable within the 9512 is one of the reasons why people pick it, because it's complex and it can do a variety of things. But knowing how much detail you can get into is where we're trying to expose just a little taste of it, right? And hopefully gain enough interest from you to say, okay, how can we push our facilities to be smarter? If you've already deployed our technology or if you're planning to. So that example, of course, tied a door prop, a door status alarm to the public address system to know that critical component, those critical medicines should not be exposed to potential theft, right? So another great example, okay, freezer doors. So that was a security component, but here we have operational examples, right? Here's a great operational example. We got freezers, the doors left open. A lot of folks monitor doors in their freezers, and they don't want to be propped open because of energy costs, right?
Attention associates. The cooler door has been left open. Please take appropriate action.
So now we're showing you how this intrusion panel, the classical burglar alarm that we've been thinking about for so long, has now created enough business intelligence to provide you with actionable information timely, right? And how important is that? How important is it to make sure that your staff on your floor knows that a freezer door's been left open? And part of my job, part of our job at Bosch is to give you that ROI discussion, right? Choosing our products it's kind of a no-brainer because you're expecting trusted equipment built with integrity, highly secure, and you know it's going to work. So that's one ROI, certainly. But when we think about a freezer door being left open and being able to respond via two-way radio immediately, all autonomously, kind of going on behind the scenes, to close this door, that translates into money. So as we show other operational examples, let's say, and we think through different operations within your scene, we're going to show you some thoughts that we have, some examples that we've solved with our solutions by bringing a fusion of all the sensors in your location together and the problems that we solve. But we got to be careful that we don't go back to what we said before. Think about the status quo. While we've maybe have come up with a solution that we're going to demonstrate right now, what solutions are you trying to solve to make your facility smarter? So another great example that we deployed now is block fire exits. This is a great location to show this. And again, it's an operational concern, but it has significant ROI if you don't have a method to respond.
Attention associates, please remove any object that may be blocking the fire exit.
Exit door number 12 has been blocked.
Now,
Please remove any object that may be blocking the fire.
so any of us that have been in the industry for a while have heard this story of the block fire exit and what it means to your facility. Now, you multiply many of the folks out there times hundreds of locations. The exposure of a block fire exit could translate into many millions of dollars worth of fines. It's not a small question. And while you might put together a whole bunch of operational theories as to how to prevent that with tours and getting your associates to do tours and make sure that they check these exits, the truth of the matter is, if you can use sensors that can accurately determine when this takes place, you've just made your associate smarter. They're more capable of providing customer service, let's say. So let's take an example of customer service. Let's give you a demonstration of that. So as we walk through the Experience Center, and again, we're just giving you one example that we know we're using now that has significant benefits, right? And so if you think about security, okay, yeah, we've got a whole host of no surprise here, Bosch power tools hanging on display, right? What would happen? What could we do to leverage the need to supply our loyal customers the ability to come up and touch and feel and get acquainted with the product? Now, I get you, most of the folks on the call are loss prevention folks, right? And they're concerned about they would rather keep this stuff locked up in a safe, potentially. But the fact of the matter is, you got to display it. And we've got to have customers come up here, touch and feel and experiment with it.
Customer assistance needed in the tool department.
A high value item has been removed in the tool department. Please respond immediately.
So another great example of how do we translate knowledge about our facility, the sensor information that's together. In this instance, we're actually deploying a video camera in combination with the intrusion panel. So it detects the area of what we're looking at, and it actually has a virtual, let's call it a personal witness, right? The perfect witness watching over our high value products. And what it's providing to us, though, is also that message. So that message, if we go back to it, was a concern for your customer service.
Customer assistance needed in the tool department.
A high value item.
So now, the great part of this is the truth of it is customers want to feel like they're important. And while you can obviously see the benefit of telling me, the customer, that a potential associate is coming to see me, so that I might look a little shady, right? I might be planning to take a bunch of this gear. So I might think twice, knowing that the facility has been notified that I'm here. That's the point, right? So there's a lot of different ways to leverage our technology to make your building smarter, to make your associates more capable of solving problems. And when you provide them with knowledge, you give your associates knowledge, that's power. That's very powerful for them. So the purpose of the tour here, and I'm not keeping a clock on the time, and as we looked around, and Dave, did you get a chance to give them the scope? What we're trying to do here at the Experience Center is go through and provide a test bed to prove out scenarios that would help solve your problems. And one of the things that's always interested me when I look at Bosch intrusion device and its product lines, and that's been deployed across multiple retailers, is it's almost a standard. I would almost go so far as to say that 80% of the time you're going to find a Bosch intrusion panel behind the scenes because it's that trusted. You've made that investment. You've made that investment in that product. What you should think about is what else can you do with it, and that's the theme of Bosch. That's what we're moving towards. We're looking so down into the details that we're looking at our sensors, our motion detectors, and bringing together a fusion of data sets, whether that's a Doppler and microwave and light sensitivity, all taking place at the edge within that sensor, and bringing that fusion together to verify alarms and verify the truth, the validity of an alarm, or whether that's the combination of the sensor, like the PIR, Tritech PIR perhaps, and the video camera that will verify that not only do we detect motion, and maybe we have a Doppler signature taking place at this device, but we also have a camera that's detecting that a person is actually in the space. And by verifying those two things reliably, I shouldn't breeze over the reliability part of this. The key to this is creating accurate sensory input, combining those two, bringing those two together, or those multiple sensors together in a fusion, and verifying that and verifying the validity. So I know that there are some folks on there that have, directly impacted at the central station. It all comes down to validating good alarms, accurate alarms, validating the need to respond when it's critical. Those things are so important. You need to be thinking in terms of how do we bring together all the sensors that we're deploying? How do we take apart these layers of technology that we deploy from different department heads that deploy that technology? How do we bring all that together so that the folks that have always been concerned about loss prevention and risk to the associate are also providing information that can help operations? And when you do this in combination with the investment you've already made on your intrusion panel, you end up with diversifying that spend, right? And you end up with potentially, I think, having a compelling reason to find ways to integrate these products together.